Welcome to the video highlights for March 31st, 2007, the game between Velox and the Meralomas. And in the early going, Velox had a lot of the possession and were attacking the Meraloma line. But they had a lot of people out of position. Team Van Camp, usually at number 13, playing at standoff. And Mark Lawson playing number 8, also hooker playing loose forward, and loose forward playing at second row. Here we can see some of the action between the halfbacks. Camp Blues at number 9, Team Van Camp at number 10. And the early pressure ended up in a penalty. Here we see Dean Van Camp. We're isolating on him. You can see he takes out his opposite number 10. Ball is turned over, and then he's back on attack. A little chip and chase, and also takes down the Meraloma player. He played a very good game at number 10. This was one of the first tries by the Meralomas, and again an example of a mix-up from people playing out of position. You see my call going through here, but if you look at the slow motion, you see that the number 4 for Velox pinched in. It's usually a loose forward, and the number 7, who's usually the hooker, they both went for the scrum half, Pat Fleck, leaving number 10, Mike Hall, with a wide open gap and the easiest of tries. Score was now 8-3. And here we see Brian Erickson getting yellow carded in the first half. So Velox were man up at that point. And Team Van Camp almost gets away. We see a very nice tackle by Craig Culpin, someone that will probably be lining up opposite Van Camp in the NA4 game, both number 13s, and he makes an excellent ankle tap. Here we see Van Camp again. It'll give and go and feed inside. A pre-work play that gained a few yards. And here we see one of the Pletch brothers racing down the wing. And the Pletch brothers played very well in the loose. Here we see another one of the Pletch brothers chasing down the kick. And bang. Good contact on that play. The half ended 8-3, and we'll look at isolate on Van Camp again. And again, the kick could have had a little bit more height on it, but generally a nice touch for someone who's not used to playing number 10. This was the turning point of the game. Interception try. You see the number 15 coming in here into the line, and the ball just gets, you can see in slow motion here, gets tapped up and intercepted. So it turned out to be a 10-point play. Could have been 5 the other way, and It ended up being 5 for the Meralomas. Pat Fleck is opportunistic here, and out of the confusion picks the ball up. Goes in for the try, and here's another one against the grain of play. Velox at the 22. Pressing, and one of the forwards drops the ball right there. You can see it on the ground, and this will be the coach's worst nightmare. It's a knock-on, and Velox just stands still. Craig Culpin immediately seizes the opportunity and races from inside his 22 in for a try. So the Lomas, against the grain of play, turned around the game with 2 successive tries to make it 22-6. Velox get 2 of the tries back in the late going, both by the forwards. Backs just weren't clicking today. And here we see one of the tries from pick and go. And the score to make it 22-11 or 22-13. And then from a line out, Velox will maul one in. There it is, John DeGoody signaling the try for a final score of 22-18. Game's over, and we'll hear from Spencer Bromley, the head coach of the Meraloma. Mr. Bromley, the head coach of the Meralomas. Spencer, what can you tell me about the game today?
Well, it was nice to play without rain, as I mentioned earlier, for the first time this season. It's an evenly contested game. I thought, obviously our defence was the strong part of our game. The Velox pack is just a very, very strong pack. They've got some very strong players up there. They've got a few carded players that came back for this game. So obviously we thought at this stage this season it was a really big test for us to come, particularly away from home. And we didn't have many opportunities, and when they did arise, we took them pretty well. So I was, all in all, pretty pleased.
Right. Any players on your team that stood out today?
Well, I think Joe Scales had an amazing game in the front row, and also Matt Fraser. Matt Fraser, is getting a little older. I think it's 35, 36 now, and the guy's going out every week, playing 80 solid minutes in the front row, and he's playing amazing. Craig Culpin, obviously, a couple of game-breaking plays, particularly the try, where he went the full length. So Robbie Corcoran, I thought, his pinch defence at crucial times was pretty good, and also I thought Luke, he made a few little mistakes under the high ball, but some of his defensive plays in the corner when they really had us on the back foot were just game savers. So yeah, I think but 1 to 15, it was just a great defensive performance.
So the Lomas look good actually for taking the whole thing. Who do you see as your main competition right now?
Well, I don't want to say that just yet. I think it's a little premature. There's a lot of great teams still in it. There's the Capolanos, Velox. I think we're going to have something to say about that. James Bay, last year's champion. They're a great team. So there's a lot of teams. I don't know at this stage. You can say there's any clear defined favourite. I think, from our perspective, we just want to get to the playoffs as fit and as healthy as we can, and as good a position as we can. And then cliche as it is, just got to take each game as it comes. But I think in terms of competition at this stage, I think there's one of probably 4 or 5 teams at this stage who could go all the way.
Okay, thanks, Spencer.
You're welcome.